there, I'm Amy Murray from Teaching Exceptional Kinders, and today I'm here to chat about setting expectations for your time on the carpet or the rug when you're doing whole group instruction. So you have your students sitting on the carpet and they're all in close quarters, and the temptation to poke the person sitting in front of them, to play with the person's hair sitting in front of them, to lay all over the carpet, to just get up and move and go do whatever they want. It's all there, right? But you need to set those expectations for how you want your students to be sitting, for how you want to hear them, for how they can show that they're listening, and all of those things. And you can do that fairly easily with some direct instruction, active modeling, and the right visuals. I'll show you how. So the first big thing that we always tackled in kindergarten was our voice level, because some students come to us and they've not been in a school situation before. And so some kids are using these huge voices and some kids are using their little tiny whisper voices, and you're having trouble understanding both of them. So we talk about their different voice levels. And this poster here shows the different voice levels that we talked about in our classroom. So the first is silent. So that would be 0, no level at all, right? They're just silent. So when we talked about our voice levels, we would all sit down and we would say, okay, this is what silent sounds like. And then they would practice and we'd move on. And then we'd work our way up. So after silent, you would think I would have these in order. We would talk about level 1, and level 1, there we go, is a whisper. So then I would say, kindergarten, can you show me a level 1 voice and say, hi, Mrs. Murray? And then they would whisper back, and we'd practice as many times as it took so everyone used their level 1 voice. And then we'd work up to level 2 voice, which is partner talking. So if you're sitting right next to someone, what does that sound like? And we would practice saying hi. And I'd always use my name because it was just easier. So we would say, hi, Mrs. Murray, in sort of just a bubble whisper voice. And then we would do our talking voice, our speaking voice, that's sometimes called. That's a level 3. And we would say, okay, kindergarten, everybody say, hi, Mrs. Murray, in your talking voice. And we'd practice that. And then they loved practicing level 4, which is shouting or yelling. And really, there is no time to use a level 4 voice inside unless there is some sort of absolute emergency, right? So we would joke around about, shouting, and then we'd say, everyone use your level 4 voice and say, hi, Mrs. Murray. And then they'd yell that back, and we'd do that once or twice, and then they'd get a big kick out of that. And then I'd go right back to 0. Oops, that's not 0. Then I'd go right back to 0 and say, all right, now show me your level 0 silent. And then we could move on. But just actively modeling. So I do it, they do it, and then we can move on. So then they know. And then throughout the first couple of weeks of school, of course, we would practice these. And anytime we would have an activity. So if we were on the carpet and we were going to be partner talking, then I would display this picture, because then they'd know it's okay to talk to the partner in just my partner voice. And anytime we were working independently and I needed it to be silent for whatever reason, we would have it on that. So they would see it on the board. And if they needed to be at centers, I always let them use a whisper voice because centers were not independent. So if they needed to use a whisper voice, they could, and that would be up for their level 1 voice. So once they have their voice levels under control, you can move on to showing how to show you are listening. You see the poster in the middle behind me has the little girl there. I have the little girl option. I also have a little boy option. So I'll show you up here a little closer. This is sort of just showing how to respectfully listen. Can all 5- and 6-year-olds demonstrate all of these things all of the time? No. And I wouldn't necessarily hold them to it, but it's a good starting point. It's a good place to teach them what it looks like if I am listening to them speak. I have my brain actively engaged. I'm thinking about what the other person is saying. My eyes are looking towards the person who is talking. My ears are listening. My ears are receiving the sound. My mouth is hopefully quiet if somebody else is talking, because if you're talking, you can't hear them. And you're sitting on the floor because, again, this is carpet time listening, right? So if we're sitting on the carpet, this is how I can show my teacher or my friends that I am listening and attending to the speaker. You'll notice it doesn't say listen to my teacher on here because it's not always the teacher who's going to be needing their attention. Sometimes it's turning and talking to their partner. Sometimes it's a student who's talking in front of the class, whoever it is. So it's just general ways to show that you're listening. I do think having real pictures of real kids helps kids to understand a little bit better about what the expectations are. And you can just reference back to these posters anytime throughout the year to give those reminders. Like, remember, when we're showing we're listening, we're sitting and we're calm, and all the things that you've already talked about. I really enjoy giving students a choice of how to sit. Believe it or not, some of your students, and I've had them over the years in kindergarten, are going to come to you and they're not going to be able to sit crisscross, or as I like to call it, pretzel. Okay, my 6-year-old, my kindergartner, helped me name these, but she's crossed like a pretzel. Some kids can't do this yet at the beginning of the year, especially your young students. My 4-year-old, she'll be 5 in November. She just recently began to be able to sit like this for an extended period of time. And that's just the way her gross motor skills developed. And so some kids may not be able to do that. And having the strict expectation that every kid sit crisscross like this, it's just not feasible because kids are people and not everyone is made the same. So I like to give them options. You can see back on this ways to sit poster, I have 5 different options. You can limit that to whatever you want because I have the individual posters too. But you could start with 5 if you choose. So pretzels, your traditional crisscross applesauce. And if you'll notice, most of these have a place for the hands to be as well, because you want the hands to have something to do so they're not touching other students. So pineapple is another way. If you choose to have your students allowed to sit pineapple, you want to make sure that they're sitting in the back so they're not sitting in front of somebody, because like a pineapple, they're straight and tall. But again, her hands have a place to be. I call this one puzzle. Some people refer to it as like a mermaid sit with the legs out to the side. We like puzzle because we were going with the theme for the beginning for alliteration, but also because his legs fit inside. And this is the best photo I could find, but I would encourage students to have their hands in their laps so that they're not going to get stepped on or be tempted to touch. Okay, this is especially good for little girls in dresses, just for appropriate sitting on the carpet. Pirate. I like to call this one pirate because pirates have that peg legs on one leg. Obviously not all, you get it. So he holds up one leg, his hands are holding a leg, his legs are tucked under him, so he's not touching anybody else. It's an appropriate way to sit. And the last one is peak, like a mountain peak. So her legs are up and she's holding onto her legs, giving them a hug. So her hands are busy as well as her feet. Like I said, you could choose to give them all of these options. You could choose to give them just one, but honestly, if you give them options, then when you have to correct them for getting up or moving around or for laying down on the carpet, there's always a few of those, right? You could say, remember, today we are choosing to sit like a peak or like a pretzel. You need to make a choice. And it gives them an option. Which way are you sitting? When you see somebody laying down, which of these ways did you decide to sit? Make sure that you pick one of our ways. And that's a very simple redirect. You don't have to be constantly sit up, sit up, sit up. You just, hey, remember, pick an appropriate way to sit. And just an easy redirect, which is really what visuals are all about. All right, I hope that these visuals help you to set those expectations for the carpet with your students this school year and gets you off on the right foot with your classroom management. You can find these posters, they're called Carpet Expectations posters, in my website store and also on my TPT store. or you can find them inside the bundle of classroom management visuals. That bundle comes with picture direction cards, visual schedules, and all kinds of visuals that you could need in your classroom and at a discounted price, which is also in both of my stores. I will leave the links for you below. If you're using these in your classroom, I'd love you to tag me on Instagram. I love seeing these resources in action. You can tag me at Teaching Exceptional Kinders. It's also our Facebook page. And if you have any questions or need to reach out, my email is amy@teachingexceptionalkinders.com. If you found this video to be helpful, please give it a like or a comment to help more people see it. Until next time, have an exceptional day.